There are over 80 versions of old Minecraft that are completely missing, lost media from a bygone era that may never be found. We know they once existed due to various videos, screenshots and logs from over 10 years ago, the only evidence left of their existence. But what about a Minecraft version that was never released to the public, never documented anywhere, and until 13 years after its initial creation was not even known to exist? That's right, recently a Minecraft version from 2011, which has some extremely strange one-of-a-kind features never seen in any other version, and also some features which never made it into the game, was randomly found. What is the mysterious Minecraft Beta 1.2 version 2 201.105.17, and where did it come from? On the 28th of June, a bit over a month ago now, the Omni Archive, a community dedicated to preserving the history of Minecraft through archiving and locating various historical Minecraft media, such as versions, saves and more, announced that they had just been given the original jar file for a Minecraft version nobody had ever heard of before. This version was not documented anywhere online. In fact, if you search up the exact version, the only results that come up are from a month ago. Up until this point, this Minecraft version may as well have not existed. Unlike many of the Omni Archive's past lost version discoveries where they contact and seek out individuals who may potentially have such media, this was entirely out of the blue. The source, who chose to remain entirely anonymous, contacted Omni Archive themselves and simply provided the jar. That was it. This is Minecraft Beta 1.2 version 2 developer build 201.105.17. Now there does actually exist a Minecraft Beta 1.2 version 2 which released in January 2011, but this different version of the game was actually compiled about 4 months later when the main game was already in Beta 1.6. Why is that? What does this version even do? Well, let's take a look. Upon opening the game, you'll notice that there is no main menu whatsoever. It loads you straight into a world where you spawn facing this odd structure. This isn't randomly generated though. This is a world save which the game has automatically loaded, titled Secret Level. We'll come back to that in a second though, as more importantly you will notice that out of the blue, 4 Steves holding iron pickaxes have magically appeared and have begun automatically building. Yes, that's right, one of the features exclusive to this version are these bizarre Steve bots which will automatically place and destroy blocks. They spawn in just behind you when you first load the world. Watching their behavior and movement, you can see it's extremely erratic and unpredictable. Sometimes they stand and attempt to mine or break blocks, sometimes they place blocks suffocating themselves, sometimes they jump notably higher than normal or get flung in random directions and take damage, playing the classic ooh sound effect, and other times they sort of just spaz out, not remotely close to the build at all. It's extremely strange to watch them, and by the way, you don't just have to watch. While you can't actually hit the entities, you can walk up to them, push them, spleef them, get in their way, break the blocks they are placing, place blocks in their way, and interact with them pretty much as you want. They will simply ignore you and continue carrying out whatever it is they are trying to do though. After about 2 or 3 minutes, one by one they will all explode, breaking a few blocks and dealing damage to you like a small TNT blast if you change the world's difficulty from its default of peaceful to hard. And after they've all blown up and respawned, they resume their erratic behavior. Now interestingly, if you restart the game, thus restarting the entire world in process, they actually seem to do the same thing or very similar. 3 of them stay at the front of this build doing whatever they do, whilst one makes its way to the back and messes around there. I got curious, so I AFK'd and let them build for about 10 to 20 minutes, and this is what I saw. Yes, that's right, they built a subscribe button, as they all know that you need to subscribe so we can reach 700k subs by the end of the year. We are so close now, no pressure. Also check out my Patreon for exclusive content. Anyways, I was also curious if I could kill them or mess with them in any way. You can in fact trap them, as I found out, but then as I went to find some lava to see if that or fire could kill them, I noticed something else. You can't access the inventory in this version. Whilst the hotbar is available and functions as normal, there is no inventory. Correction actually, there is an inventory. As you can see, when I filled my hotbar and went to get a new item, I still picked it up, but you simply cannot access it. You can't drop items with Q either or damage mobs, as I discovered. In fact, going into the controls, there isn't any bind for inventory, chat or drop available. It's all been removed. Also, another interesting thing, if you click save and quit to title, the game will not in fact save and quit, but will instead regenerate the world, this time with no build, and the Steve robots begin doing the same thing again. But but this time around they actually begin building the structure, so clearly they are programmed to do so. Oh, also, once it's night, you can't attack hostile mobs either, but they can attack you. They also won't attack or aggro at the Steves. So, what are they building and why does this version exist in the first place? Well, as it eventually was discovered, this developer build version is likely an early version of whatever version would eventually be used to create this time-lapse for this video from August 2011, 3 months later. This video here announced the first ever version of Minecraft Pocket Edition available to play exclusively on the Xperia Play, an early gaming smartphone with a controller-like handheld function. This phone, while unique, didn't sell well and as such was later cancelled. As you can see in this video, Steve bots are building an Xperia phone similar to how they built in this developer version. Notably though, in the video the bots build the phone horizontally, whereas here in the version we have, the bots try to build the phone vertically, which doesn't seem to work too well, potentially indicating once again that this was a beta version for testing. So now we know, this version of the game was ultimately a beta version of another Minecraft version we don't have, created for this promotional video announcing the release of Minecraft Pocket Edition. Pretty cool. But interestingly, there's still more to this version. Because this version wasn't meant to be released publicly, the code is not obfuscated. Basically, when Minecraft versions are released, the game's source code is deliberately obfuscated and made hard to understand and analyze. This is done to prevent people stealing the game, pirating it, and to protect the game's intellectual property. Normally during the process of obfuscating the game's code, unused code would be automatically removed. But because this version was a development version that was never meant to release publicly, this obfuscation process wasn't conducted, and as such there is unused code in the game that is rather interesting. First of all, besides the Steve builders, there is also two types of secret builders in the code. The first holds a golden pick and walks around and attacks the players like a mob, and the second functions like the Steve builders but is not programmed to build anything or follow a waypoint. Enabling both in the code crashes the game. There is also another unused mode that spawns the secret builder, but this doesn't work. There also exists unused code for coral blocks. And yes, while coral blocks do exist now, this was back in 2011, 7 years before 1.13, remember. Using this coral block code in an InfDev version of the game, the Omni archive was able to display what these coral blocks look like, and as you can see, the tint of the coral changes depending on the location it is placed, and looks like a slightly different, colourful version of leaves. Notch actually mentioned coral in June of 2010, and it was planned to be added to the game, but was seemingly scrapped. There also exists code for this brick house structure, as well as code for canyons, which weren't officially added to the game until a few months later in beta 1.8, where they would become known as ravines. Finally, there was also code for generating image sequences for flyby videos. Basically, it's code which generates a bunch of screenshots, making it look like you are flying through the game. Oh, and fun fact, but if you modify the game's jar to access the main menu, the logo says Mimfcraft instead of Minecraft. There's one final question we have yet to answer though. Since this version was clearly never made public nor intended to be publicly released, how is it that we even have it? Who anonymously gave it to Omni Archive? Well, we don't know and likely never will, but I was assured that the individual who provided the jar is very trustworthy, which I personally speculate means that it was someone who was either close to or worked with Mojang years ago. As for how this version initially got out, well, some of the Omni Archive members speculate that since this seems to be a beta version, it was likely given to a small handful of people to test. Beyond that, it is still a mystery. Regardless, we have it now, and it's yet another cool and unexpected footnote in Minecraft history. Check out the Omni Archive here and help them find old versions of the game. Be sure to subscribe so we can reach 700k subs by the end of the year, and check out my Patreon. Thank you all so much for watching.